I hope you guys are ready to check off another one of the world's best hikes, because right now I am in Chilean Patagonia at Torres del Paine National Park. We are close to the bottom of South America here, where I'm going to be doing the W Trek. I've been wanting to do this hike for a long time and I am so excited to be here now. This hike takes 5 days, and this park in particular protects stunning mountain ranges, glaciers, lakes, rivers. There's a ton of wildlife here too, and one of the main features along this hike is actually getting up to see the viewpoint for the mountain that this park is named after, the Torres del Paine. 3 big towers that are just absolutely stunning. I'm going to be starting the hike later today, but first I want to show you how I got here to Torres del Paine and where I stayed last night. After leaving Antarctica, I headed by plane from Ushuaia at the tip of Argentina to El Calafate, a beautiful town in the Argentinian mountains. Then I boarded a bus and headed 5 hours across the border into Chile to a town called Puerto Natales, where a driver picked me up and drove me into Torres del Paine National Park. While I'm here in Torres del Paine and before and after my trek, I'm staying at a hotel called Hotel Lago Grande. It's a sustainable hotel and it sits right along this lake. Glacier is at the end of it, and the views here are just insane. Now, this is on the western side of the park, so if you're starting or ending W Trek from this side of the park, or you're coming to see Great Glacier, this is a great place to stay. There's a restaurant here, the views are spectacular, there's plenty of places to hike even if you're not doing the W Trek, and there's even some other nearby places you can eat and obviously take in the scenery. I had one night to relax, repack, and enjoy the stunning scenery at Lago Grande before starting my hike, and this hotel did not disappoint. I felt like Snow White staying here. A family of foxes lived in front of the lodge, woodpeckers also enjoyed visiting the windows, and the iceberg and mountain views from the picturesque windows were unbelievably good. After a day of relaxing, the time had come to start the W Trek, but to get there I would have to hop on a catamaran and head across the lake. This hike is about to begin, but first I'm jumping on a catamaran that's taking us to Great Glacier and across the lake to where the trail begins. Great Glacier is part of the southern Patagonian ice field, one of the largest ice fields in the world, which stretches for more than 8,000 square miles, spanning the border of Chile and Argentina. I am officially beginning the trail. I got off the ferry and checked into Refugio Grande, which is where I'm staying tonight, just about a 10-minute walk from where the boat dropped you off. And before dinner tonight, I'm actually going to be doing what most people do on their last day of the W Trek, up to Gardner Pass, which has several hanging bridges and some really spectacular scenery. Now, I'm hiking the W Trek backwards, west to east. Most people do it the other way, starting at the park headquarters and heading west. I just got to the first swinging bridge here. Definitely reminiscing from the West Coast Trail, because to get up to it, there's a ladder and looks like it's gonna have some pretty spectacular views. All right, I'm not gonna lie, these hanging bridges are pretty unnerving. They sway a lot, they are very high off the ground, and when you've got a big backpack and your balance isn't great, it can be pretty scary walking across these narrow planks. One of the reasons not to miss these swinging bridges and this trail is that it actually takes you right alongside Great Glacier, which we just saw on the catamaran, and it's just coming to view here. It's even more stunning from land. Wowee! Just came over a hillside here and to the Mirador where you can see Great Glacier. It is spectacular. Check this out. Wow. Okay, we are at the second viewpoint and the second swinging bridge. And the views of the glacier have gotten even better. I'm gonna take you out on the bridge so that you can see that a little bit better. I cannot get over the views up here. It is just absolutely stunning. It's also around 8 p.m. so it is time for me to head back to camp. I'm gonna show you where I'm staying at Refugio Gray. I'm actually staying in the Refugio tonight. There's a couple different lodging options when you're doing this trail, whether you want to regular camp, get a tent already set up for you, or stay in one of the refugios. I'll go over kind of the details and some more of the logistics of doing this trail at the end of the video, so make sure you stay tuned if you want to do it. We better get out of here before all those bugs find me. Just got back just after 9, so I'm gonna grab some dinner, get ready for bed, and I will show you guys around in the morning. All right, I'm at Refugio Gray. Just kind of got my bed set up. There's actually a bar and restaurant here. I missed dinner by a little bit, so had a granola bar for dinner. They've also got a mini market here, and pretty much everything that you could need. You can rent sleeping bags, mats, tents. Pretty much makes it so you could do most of this with a day hike. It's also really busy, a lot busier than I actually expected this trail to be. There's way more tent camping sites and people staying in all of these places than I expected, so it's a bit of a frat party vibe for me that I'm not really into. But hopefully some of the other campsites that I go to along the next couple of days will be a little bit less busy. On the route now to Paine Grande. This is about 10.5 kilometers, should take somewhere between 3 and 4 hours. Now, one thing that I should have done is actually booked either a kayaking or a glacier tour. I didn't know that you could do these over here, but where I actually got off the catamaran yesterday, there's an outfitter called Bigfoot. They offer both of these activities, and the glacier tour starts at 8 a.m., the kayaking at 9 a.m. There's a couple afternoon times as well, so that's something I definitely could have fit in today, knowing that the hike is actually pretty short today. So far we've just been kind of meandering along the side of the lake here, but there is quite a bit of elevation gain today, and we're just starting to go uphill now. Much like many of our parks in Western United States, fire is something that park officials worry about greatly. Now, right now I'm walking through one of the areas here in Torres del Paine that has burned. Back in 2011, there was a huge wildfire here. And unfortunately, it wasn't started naturally. It was started by someone that was illegally camping here in the park. Now, there are pretty strict rules when it comes to doing the W Trek or the O Trek, getting reservations and permits for the different places that you're going to stay. There's also pretty strict rules about where you can have camp stoves. Regular fires are not allowed anywhere in any of the campsites, and this is exactly why. So the person that started this fire back in 2011 was camping out of bounds. They didn't want to pay to get a permit, and this is the result, this huge area of forest that's been completely decimated. Now, there is a lot of new growth, as we can see through here, lots of wildfires, and hopefully these trees will one day be able to regrow, but it's been over a decade now. Most of these trees are still pretty bad shape. Most of them are dead. Very few have started to regrow, so I'm interested to see just how much this area can regenerate over the next couple of decades. All right, I've arrived here at Paine Grande, just set up my tent. Now you can get a premium tent, which are all in these kind of raised blocks here, or if you set up your own, there's actually a pretty crappy spot, so not a lot of availability on internet. It's really windy. I'm gonna get some of my devices on the chargers and get some well-needed food. It is just about 10 p.m., which means I am gonna try to get some sleep here in a few minutes. So we're just in my tent. It is extremely windy outside. So I wanted to just take a minute to tell you a little bit about what it's like to stay here in the Refugios, whether you're camping like I am tonight or actually staying in the Refugio itself. So there's 3 different options when you book reservations, and they're not all going to be available at all times, especially the later you book, the more things book up. So you can either stay in the Refugio in shared bunks, you can stay in premium tents, which I'm going to show you tomorrow night, that are already set up for you, or you can camp yourself, and you are told kind of like what areas you can camp in, and then obviously like set up everything yourself. Now they've done it really nicely here. So in the Refugio itself, they do have breakfast and dinner, which has to be booked in advance. They have 3 seatings for dinner, and anyone, regardless of whether you're camping or staying in the Refugio, can actually book that. Same with breakfast. They also have a separate building for campers that is for making meals and eating. And they have 2 different bathroom facilities as well, one for the people in the Refugio and another one for all the people camping. So it's really nice. Everyone has access to showers and hot showers. They're not like run with quarters or anything like that. You can actually take a nice hot shower, which is really luxurious when you're on a thing like this. So that's been really nice. I will say that, as I said, it's really windy tonight, so my entire tent has just kind of a layer of dirt inside of it right now. One other thing, if you're camping, is that they do have a gear rental at pretty much every Refugio so far that I've seen. You can rent tents, sleeping bags, sleeping pads, all kinds of stuff. So if you forgot anything at home or you just don't want to lug it along the trail, you can rent that at the Refugios too. Good morning. Today is day 3. It has persisted to be extremely windy most of the night and lots of gusts every now and then this morning as well. Today is a very long day, about 14 or so miles. I am going from here at Paine Grande all the way to a campsite called Cuernos. But I'm going to be doing this really big hike up to Britannica in between. So it's going to be a long one with some amazing views. And I should be able to drop some of my baggage at one of the refugios along the way, which will be nice. But I'm excited to see some of the close-up views of the Cordillera Paine, some of these big famous peaks. The weather has now changed again as we've kind of rounded the southern side here of the mountains. No more wind, and we're walking by a beautiful lake right now. The scenery changes so much here. You really do get something absolutely different each and every day. We're about 1/3 of the way into part 1 of today. About 4 more kilometers to Italiano, which is where I'm gonna drop my backpack and head up. All right, I have just dropped off my big backpack here at Campo Italiano. This is a guard track. It's also one of the smaller areas that you can camp in as well. There's some bathrooms here and a place to fill up water. And we've got about 5.5 kilometers up to the top lookout here, which is called Britannica. There's a couple lookouts on the way, which I'm really excited to check out. I'm hoping the weather holds because it does look a little rainy, cloudy up there. We'll see what happens. There are so many colorful flowers around here. One of my favorites is this. Actually, not sure what it's called, but it smells heavenly. The area of the park that we're hiking into right now is called the French Valley. Most of the people that I've asked have said this is their favorite part of the park because of the beauty and the biodiversity. It has some of the most flora and fauna in any part of the park. And as you hike up this part of the trail, you can smell all the wonderful flowers blooming. Behind me are those lakes we hiked by this morning, which are just dazzling in the sunshine. And behind us here are several glaciers up on the mountainsides that we are hiking up towards and going to have an absolutely spectacular view of in just a few more minutes. Just to look at all those waterfalls. I can count 1, 2, 3, 4. There must be over a dozen of them. Just incredible. If you guys remember from my episode in Alaska, we talked a lot about glaciers. And as you can see on this glacier, it's nice and white up here and then it gets gray and black down here. That's because it's covered with moraine, which is really common in these high mountain environments where you have glaciers that are melting, bringing rocks and other debris down as they move down the mountainside. Check out this rock. Look at the sheer force that would have taken to crack this, and it's just filled with all these other smaller rocks. Really neat. Welcome to Britannica Viewpoint. This is one of the highlights here on the W Trek. Definitely one you won't want to miss if you are coming to do this hike. And the nice part was that my big backpack is down at the bottom, so it wasn't too bad getting up here. And this is a great place where you have 360-degree views of this mountain range. Right in the heart of it, you've got rocky spires and peaks in all directions, really emblematic of these southern Andes region. I'm not going to stay up here too long because we've got a lot more hiking to do today. Got to get back down, grab the backpack, and head to Los Cuernos to spend the day. All right, the bag is back on. I am just leaving Italiano and heading to Cuernos, which I will hopefully arrive today in time for dinner. Right now I'm passing through Camping Frances, which is another spot you can stay in. And they've got some raised campsites here, which is pretty cool. If you were doing the premium tents, I think you'd stay in those. We've got 2 more kilometers to where we're going, and all I can think about is food. I could pretty much eat anything right now. Just seeing pretty far off over the lake there, but the first Andean condors of the trip, and hopefully we'll be able to see some more of those from camp tonight. That'll be really exciting. These birds are absolutely massive. Actually saw some in a field on the drive from Argentina into Chile, and they are just completely prehistoric. We have arrived, and in time for dinner, which will be in just about 45 minutes. It's nice being by myself because I can pretty much always get in even when they're full. Tonight I'm doing the premium camping, and at this location there are actually like rooftop tents from vehicles, and pretty cool. So nice shelter from any inclement weather here, and inside plenty of space in here. And if there were 2 of you, definitely would have enough room to spread out well in here. I brought my own sleeping bag liner since I have been camping as well, so I'm going to use that inside of the sleeping bags they provided. They've provided pillows as well, and it's just a nice kind of cozy setup here where you're above the ground so you don't feel like you're down kind of in the dampness. It is a bit dark. I'm not going to get any sunlight coming in here as we are in the trees. And right now it's actually raining, so I'm hoping that the rain gets all of itself out because I don't want any rain on the trail tomorrow. So fingers crossed. I'm gonna shut my eyes here in a little bit, and I will see you guys in the morning. One of the drawbacks of backpacking is that I can't just sit here all day staring at the scenery, because this morning, now that the rain is gone, everything is just blanketed in this beautiful sprinkling of water droplets and moisture. The high mountains have fog that just seems to envelop it and disappear, showing the snow and revealing the hidden waterfalls. It's just spectacular. And then of course we've got the glacial lakes. I could sit here probably half the day just staring. But we have a really long day today, lots of mileage. Most people doing this trek that start at the beginning actually do this next section in 2 days. And most of the people coming this way also do it in 2 days. So I'm going to be attempting to do it in 1. We have a really long day, lots of incline, and I'll probably be getting to camp around 10 p.m. So I think it's time to get on the trail. Well, the trail is certainly getting busier as I'm kind of making my way to the eastern side of the park, where most of the people that are coming for day hikes come, and most of the people starting this hike as well will be beginning. So passing quite a few more groups. It's about 10:30 now, and I'm hoping to be at Chilena, which is on the way up to the base Torres, probably sometime after lunch. All right, I'm at the trail junction now. That way goes back to the beginning of the park, and that's where a lot of the people that I've passed this morning are coming from. But we're going to be heading this way up to the Mirador base Torres to see the Torres del Paine. So funnily enough, from this spot here, you can actually see down into the valley, and down here is actually one of the hotels in the park, some parking lots where most of the visitors coming to the entrance actually park to do their day hike. So we still have a lot of mileage left, but part of me is like, do I have time to go drop my bag off down there, make it up to the Torres, and then back down? If only. So this section has also had a lot of mosquitoes from all the running water and the rain last night. Definitely bring your bug spray. All right, we have gained some serious elevation, over 1,100 feet in the last couple of hours, and this is where this trail is going to get a lot busier, because right behind me is the main trail that actually comes up from the park entrance, where all the day hikers, all the people starting the W Trek are also coming up. So these trails join right up the hill here, and then there's going to be a lot of people making their way up to the Torres del Paine. But we've got a couple more hours. We are doing good, making good time. And I think we're definitely going to get this hike done today. All right, I have stopped here at Chileno, gotten a cheese sandwich to get a little refuel here before we head to the top. Looks pretty good. And then we've got about 2 miles to get up to the Mirador to Torres del Paine. Well, we made it to the Mirador Base Torres, where the famous peaks of the Torres del Paine are. 3 big peaks here, made out of granite, that this park was actually named after. Unfortunately, they are completely hidden in clouds right now, but I've been told wait a few minutes and hopefully they'll appear. So I've got my other camera set up for a time lapse of the clouds, and we're gonna wait and see. Well, unfortunately, it seems seeing the Torres del Paine today was not in my cards. But the good news is the mountain will still be here tomorrow, and so will I. I think we've fully conquered this national park though, and now it's time to head back down to Chileno and far back down to the beginning of the park to finish this trek. Well, the hard part of this hike is now behind us. We've gone up to all the big miradors, and I've rejoined my backpack now as well. Just picked it up at the Refugio Chileno. And a lot of the other people that I was hiking with are actually going to be staying at that Refugio tonight, heading up to Torres del Paine in the morning to try to catch it for sunrise. So I hope that they get to see it without the clouds that we had. This has been an extraordinary hike. It's not over yet. We've still got many more miles to go before we reach the end. And I saw some wild horses in the distance on our way past the trail, so I'm hoping that we can catch them on our way down. Gosh, that tent was just a portal into another world. Welcome back to Hotel Lago Gray, where this hike began. Last night when I climbed into my tent at Torres Norte, which is the campsite at the beginning of the trail, I was so tired and just really worn out from that really long day that I couldn't get on camera. So this morning, after having a coffee at the Welcome Center at the beginning of the park, I took the bus back over here to Lago Gray and have showered and drying my gear, charging my devices, and wanted to now kind of give you my thoughts on the trail, share some insights that I have after doing it that I hope will help you in planning, and share some funny moments along the trail as well. So I don't know if you're like this, but for me, especially when I'm shooting a vlog and making these videos, a lot of times it's hard for me to, I guess, really process how I'm feeling about the destination or what I'm seeing until I've gotten to the end of the day or the end of the trip and really had some time to kind of not only look through what I shot and have feelings about what I saw, but kind of put it into words. So it's hard for me sometimes in the moment when I'm out shooting to give you guys my, I guess, full review on how I feel or what we're seeing at the time. But I will say, just in general, this trail was, as you saw, stunningly beautiful. A lot of variety in the short distance that we have here. You know, that first day on this side with the glaciers and the lake below. I loved the swinging bridges, even though they were a little bit scary. And then just this really scenic hike through kind of low, rolling, and somewhat steep, you know, hillsides to the next Refugio Paine Grande. And then that Refugio was so beautiful right on the lake there. And then that next day, just different terrain, every day different terrain, shrublands, and then into the forest, and then with the big stunning mountains that we had yesterday and the day before at Britannica. So a lot of variety on the trail. And I would say that the way I did it, with yesterday being a really long day, I think was a really good way to do it. You know, that first day was just a 3-hour hike. Then it was 2 medium to long days and 1 really long day to finish. And now I'm back here relaxing, resting. Most people do what I did yesterday in 2 days, going up to Paine Grande, either really early in the morning, like 3 a.m., or doing it early in the morning and finishing in the early to mid-afternoon on their last day. So there's a lot of different ways that you can do this trail, which I think helps in kind of spreading people out. I was really worried my first night because the Refugio Gray was so busy, so many people, really loud, especially inside at the bar and restaurant. I thought, oh my God, what did I get myself into? This hike is gonna be like people everywhere. I'm gonna hate it. And luckily, once you get on the trail, especially if you get out early, you definitely do have a lot of moments where it's just you alone with the wilderness. And that's what I get out and hike for. I mean, meeting people is great along the trail as well, but I get out here to see the spectacular landscapes, and I still got to do that. That was until I got to, you know, the base Torres. And, it was a Congo line getting up there. So that was a little bit of a bummer, but you know, just like most American national parks in the summertime, if you go in the afternoon, it's gonna be like that too at our popular destinations. So keep that in mind when you're coming down here. If you're looking for more solitude, you're probably going to like the O Trek better, which basically goes around the back side of the mountains and then does the W Trek. It's a lot harder to get a reservation for that one because the Refugios are a lot smaller. And so it's just something that you have to book a lot more ahead of time than the W Trek. But if you're looking for solitude, I would say that would be my recommendation for here in Torres del Paine, or just coming and staying in a hotel and doing some of the day hikes, or maybe going into Argentina and doing maybe Fitzroy or El Calafate, or, I mean, there's a ton of mountains down here. Don't let this be the only place if you're looking for more solitude. There's a lot of other places as well. But I really liked the trek, and I wouldn't even go so far as to say that it was like a true backpacking trail, because all of the Refugios make this very luxurious. I think they've also really set it up so that beginners can do it, and I think that's great. I think it's great to get more people out hiking and backpacking. But with that, I had a lot of funny moments on the trail with just people that were really inexperienced. You could tell a lot of people were really hurting after the first couple of days because they weren't conditioned to do this kind of thing. And I don't know how many injuries they have along this trail, or you know, how many people go home missing toenails, but I'm sure there's a lot. Now that we're kind of getting into refugios and logistics, let me just outline like what some of the refugios had, what they have to offer that I didn't necessarily show you in the video. So every refugio, for the most part on the W Trek, offers breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's best to book ahead of time when you actually book your reservations for the different refugios and camping, but you can definitely do it when you get there too. I didn't have any trouble being one person getting dinner every night when I arrived, except for the first night because I actually missed the time of dinner. And then breakfast if you want, but as a vegetarian that doesn't eat milk as well, breakfast was a waste of money for me. Things are actually quite expensive. Dinner last night was $50 US, which I think is like more than US prices if you were staying at a refugio. So it is rather pricey to get the meals included, and lunches they'll make in the morning and give them to you in like a little brown sack, and you can take that in your hiking pack, which I didn't do that either, just because of kind of like my food restrictions, and I knew I'd probably get something pretty crappy. So, but those are options that you can do at all the refugios. There's also mini markets at most of the refugios. There are like ATM-like machines that give Wi-Fi for a fee, so which was working at all but one refugio, so you can pay to get like an hour to 8 hours of Wi-Fi. And there's also a bar at each refugio, so even if you don't want to do the dinner service, you can get drinks. Most of them either served sandwiches or pizza as well until like a little bit later after the dinner service. The mini markets were very minimal, I will say, on what they offered, like chips, candy bars. I saw some that had like some sort of sausages, beer and wine, and some sodas. So there wasn't a lot for me to eat at the mini markets, but you know, yesterday I got a nice big chocolate bar that lasted me most of the day, so that was kind of my lunch on my long day. So really well set up for people that don't want to bring anything. You can also rent gear like sleeping bags and sleeping mats. So it's just it's a really nice introductory trail for people that aren't used to carrying a heavy backpack or don't want to, because as I said, you could do this with a day hike, a day bag. They have potable water at every single place, also hot showers at everywhere along the W Trek. The O Trek is a little bit more basic with cold water showers, but still the amenities are there as far as running water and available food. So really nice for people that just getting into it, want a little bit of luxury, but still want the wilderness feel. That being said, before I go, I want to share a couple funny moments from the trail. So the first 2 days, each day, there was a woman that had the sole of her hiking boot come off, and I provided the first day like a roll of, you know, athletic tape that I had in my bag for her to fix her shoe. The second day, this woman, actually from the US, same thing, and luckily some other people had already found her and were giving her some duct tape. But it's so funny because, I don't know, it's like, yes, you need broken-in shoes, but like they shouldn't be like shoes that you haven't worn in 10 or 15 years. And are falling apart. So the other funny thing I saw was just several people with two backpacks, like a backpacking backpack and then a backpack on the front. And I don't know, that was just a head scratcher for me. Like I travel like that sometimes, which is fine in an airport, but you're hiking 48 miles. You definitely don't need A, that much stuff, and B, that would be so uncomfortable. Ouch, is all I have to say about that. So if you're one of these people, or if you know somebody that does that on long backpacking trails, please drop a comment down below, because I am very curious as to know why you're doing that. And the last thing that I thought was really funny was actually at the Refugio 2 nights ago, so the third night in, there was a woman, I'm not sure where she was from, but she spoke Spanish, and she had brought a hairdryer. Yeah. So that was her splurge item. I mean, my splurge item was a pair of fleece pants. She brought a hairdryer. I mean, hey, whatever. More power to you, I guess. I kind of wanted to borrow it because I didn't wash my hair for 4 days, but funny things people bring on the trails definitely cracks me up. And speaking of that, actually, drop a comment down below with the weirdest splurge item you've ever brought on a backpacking trip or a hiking trip, because inquiring minds want to know. And I've got lots more content coming to you from not only the southern side of the world down here in Chile and Argentina, but lots more adventures to come. So as always, stay tuned, make sure you're subscribed, drop those comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. As always, I'm Alice Ford. Never stop exploring.